Well, hello everyone. It's a beautiful winter day. I'm at the home of Deke Baggett in Noonan, Georgia, and I'm excited to be here. I've heard Deke's name so much over the years. I've never met Deke, and everyone's told me you've got to talk to Deke Baggett about the cement and ready-mix industry. And so Deke is going to tell us about his life and his experience in construction materials, largely with Lehigh, which is now, of course, Heidelberg. So we're just going to jump right in, and Deke, just tell us about yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Hey, I was born in 1938, September 20th, Wilmington, North Carolina. I grew up in southeastern North Carolina, Lake Waccamaw, North Carolina. Nobody knows where Lake Waccamaw is. It's the largest natural lake between Maine and Florida.
Wow.
5 miles across it, 7 miles long. There's nothing there but alligators, water moccasins, rattlesnakes, and sand spurs. But it's right down on the South Carolina line. We touch OD County, Columbus County. I graduated from high school in Whiteville, North Carolina, 1957. I began my college career at Wake Forest, North Carolina, before they moved to Winston-Salem. It was the year of the Asian flu epidemic. We all wound up in the infirmary. We all wound up after one semester dropping out of school with permission because we were so far behind we'd never catch up. And they said, come back this summer. And I elected not to come back. I went to Regal Paper Company and went to work and worked for 2.5 years. And then I decided I did need to go to college, and I went back in the summertime to Campbell University, Bowie's Creek, North Carolina. And I stayed there and pursued a degree in biology. I graduated in 1965, and having a degree in biology, I thought about going to work for a drug company. So I began interviewing with all the drug companies. And I saw an ad in a newspaper for Lehigh Cement distribution. And I knew that Lehigh was a big company out of Pennsylvania, stable company. So I answered the ad, and as luck would have it, I went to work for Lehigh, basically because they paid $50 more than the drug companies did a month for a drug salesman. And I began my career with Lehigh in Durham, North Carolina, in their distribution system, and they moved me from Durham, North Carolina to Minneapolis, Minnesota. I then moved from Minneapolis, Minnesota to Fargo, North Dakota.
Wow.
I then moved from Fargo, North Dakota to Mitchell, Indiana.
Oh, my word.
I then moved from Mitchell, Indiana to Indianapolis, Indiana. I then moved from Indianapolis to Raleigh, North Carolina. And then I moved to Memphis, Tennessee. And then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, which I've been at ever since. And what else?
So you have literally been around the world with Lehigh.
I've been around the world.
All over this country.
All over.
Well, now tell me, how many years total were you there?
I began in 1965, and I retired. What's the business?
Let's see, we just started 24.
Well, I started in 1965, and I retired 4 years ago.
Oh my word!
So I retired at. I'm 85 now. I retired at 81.
That is absolutely remarkable. Well, let me tell you, I mean, over that many years, you had to have seen just tremendous change, not only in in cement, but of course in the ready mix world. Can you talk a little bit about some of the big over that span of time, some of the big changes that you faced, and talk a little bit about that?
When I began, we delivered cement to ready-mix customers in bags, and we delivered it in rail cars. We didn't have trucks. Trucks were starting to come on, but they were not pneumatic trucks. They were screw trucks, can trucks. And you went to the pit, backed the truck over it, and screwed the cement into the hopper, and then a bucket elevator took it up into the silo. And then the pneumatic truck came out, and you could blow it in a pipe and send it up.
Wow, that's unbelievable. Talk a little bit about when you were in the Atlanta area, and some of the customers that you got to know, and talk a little bit about the characters and the friendships, if you don't mind.
Not at all. When I first came to Atlanta, we had a lot of independents that were in the business, not vertically integrated companies like we have today. And some of the people I remember distinctly, one would be Charles Phillips in Fayetteville, Georgia. Charlie had 2 ready-mix plants, 3 actually, and 1 block plant. And Hewlett Harrell, Fairburn Ready Mix was there, and Tucko, Buddy Putter, and you had Ben Hill Ready Mix, Charlie Rice, and M.H. Donald, and Randall Porter, Carl Davis Fulton Concrete,
and then of course Williams.
And Williams Brothers was just big. It was a dominant ready mix producer in Atlanta and in the state of Georgia. And who else do we have? That's basically about it.
Those were the main players.
Those were the main players. Main players that I called on. Wayne Davis was growing. Hollingsworth over in Carrollton was a single plant operation. That's it.
Well, tell me, or tell our friends in the industry here, who would you say was really influential in your career in construction materials and cement? Who comes to mind of people that had a lot to do with your career and your success?
I guess Horace Williams was probably the mentor of everybody. It was fun to call on Horace. He always had a project for you. It was some question he wanted answered in the market, what was going on, and it wasn't necessarily about his competitor. He did try to pick stuff out of you about the competitors, but it was just the market in general. What was going on? Who was doing this? Who were the home built? Who were the people buying concrete? But it was always fun to call on him. You always felt like you learned something.
What do you see? You've not been retired very long now. Just sounds like 4 years. What do you, as you were reaching kind of the end of your career, what were the big challenges that kind of got your attention there towards the end, and what do you see that the industry is really, the big things to address and overcome?
Well, the biggest thing during my time in the cement industry, the biggest challenge has been thinking about vertical integration. The larger getting larger and the smaller disappearing. A lack of people to call on, a lack of ideas. You condense everything down. At first, I was telling Bill earlier, it was not hard at all to every day to get up and make 5 calls. You can make 25, 30 calls a week, not on the same people. But the people have all disappeared. The advent of the front discharge truck has changed the marketplace. It certainly cost a lot more money. I know today it scares me to think about it. When I first came to Atlanta, you could pick up cement FOB for $40 a ton. And now today I understand it's pushing $200 a ton. Wow. How do you afford to buy the stuff? It's everything's going up, but it seems like it's out of control.
What would you say over the years in this industry, what did you enjoy the most about being a cement salesman? What was the most pleasurable parts of that?
The camaraderie and the people, the customers you called on, the different stories that came out of it. We talked about stuff other than business. We talked about hunting. We talked about fishing. We talked about ball games and stuff. But just the friendships, and even your competitors in the cement industry, the other salesmen, we were all friends. We all had a common interest with selling our products to the customers we called on, and everybody just treated everybody like a gentleman, and everything went along fine.
Well, you're right about that, Deke. And, I've been back almost 2 years after being away for a while, and it's almost like a big fraternity. It's just the friendships, and there's a competitive spirit, no doubt. I mean, people are out there competing every day and vigorously, but at the same time, there's a commitment to our industry, and certainly the association. We work hard to try to support the welfare of the construction materials, of course, ready mix. Let me ask you this: what advice would you offer to young folks? The people coming in today. It's always what they call sage wisdom. That's timeless wisdom. But what kind of advice would you give someone who's coming in to sell ready mix or sell aggregates or cement? What do you have to say?
Just be yourself, and don't try to be something that you aren't, and be honest with the people you're calling on. If everybody's honest, everything goes fine. If somebody's not honest, it can screw a lot of stuff up. But just be honest. And all these people that we call on are unique. They're in business for themselves. They're not working for somebody. They make decisions that affect how well you perform in your job. I'll go back and tell you a story about Mark Henderson, the guy that started Tucko. When I first came to Atlanta, Mark Henderson had a front discharge ready mix truck sitting in his ready mix plant in Tucker. And I recognized it because I'd been in Indiana and seen them. And I went in the office and I asked him, I said, "How do you like that front discharge truck?" He said, "It's the best truck I own." He said, "It burns very little fuel. It's very easy on tires. So I never have had to put any tires on it." He said, "I don't use the damn thing." He said, "It sits there all the time." He said, "Don't know why I bought it." I said, "Well, would you be interested in selling it?" And he said, "I sure would." I said, "Well, I know a guy that runs that same truck, let me call him. And I called him, and he came down, bought the truck for Mark. But Mark was a character. He just wanted to test it and try it and see how it worked.
Well, Deke, I'm really grateful to you for taking time to visit with us and telling us about yourself. And let me ask you one final question. I guess it would be, how are you spending your retirement years? What are you doing now that you're not out calling on customers? What's your life like these days?
Just doing what my wife tells me to do, trying to stay out of trouble, just watching ball games and sitting around.
And you've got grandkids.
Yeah, I have 6 grandchildren. I have twin girls that started college this year, and Mary Tucker, she's going to Georgia, and she entered Georgia as a sophomore. Her grades were so good. And then her twin sister wanted to go to Tennessee, so she's at Tennessee. And have one more, two in high school here. One's a senior, and one's a junior, and one's a sophomore. And then we'll be out of the baby business.
Wow. Well, Deke, thank you so much for taking time to be with us, and it's been a delightful afternoon, and I wish you the best, my friend.
Okay. Thank you.